What's going on, Jets fans? It's your boy DT. Another game recap, another Jets uncompetitive loss. 0-5 now to start the Aaron Glenn regime. Absolutely unacceptable on all three phases: offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and players alike. Not quite sure where to begin, so I'll just go chronologically. The first three drives for the Jets, they got the ball first, which I actually agreed with, getting the ball first. 13-play drive, chewing up 6 or 7 minutes of time of possession. They tried a quarterback sneak that was successful on 3rd and short. They had 2 screen passes that, although they didn't work, at least showed me that they were trying something new with this offense. Unfortunately, they settled for a field goal. Dallas goes down, scores a field goal of their own, 3-3. It's manageable. The Jets start their second drive at their own 42-yard line. They get back-to-back first downs in Dallas territory. Then they basically have 3 plays and punt from the Dallas 43-yard line in a 3-3 ball game. I think you have to go for that. The way your season has gone, you have to give your team a little boost of momentum or a jolt of energy right in the beginning of the game, and I felt like that was the moment. So I didn't agree with punting the ball 4th and 5 on Dallas's 43-yard line. I thought that was one of the turning points in the game because Dallas then took it 91 yards for a touchdown and made the game 10-3. So immediately the Jets are behind the 8 ball, of course, right? They have to be behind the 8 ball. They get the ball back on a punt, on a kickoff that goes out of bounds. They start on the 40-yard line. So great field position for the New York Jets to start all 3 drives essentially in this game. Justin Fields has an incomplete on first down and gets sacked twice. And they're all of a sudden punting again. The Jets actually force a 3-and-out. And they were doing well on defense in that moment. They had 2 of 3 drives that ended in a field goal and a stop. Obviously, there was the touchdown in between. But then on the ensuing possession, Breece Hall fumbles at the 10-yard line. Another fumble for this damn offense inside the red zone. Last week, it was Braylon Allen. This week, it's Breece Hall. In your head, you're doing it again. That's ball game, right? The Jets are not going to be able to overcome this. And Breece Hall was even a little bit banged up on that play to make things a little bit worse. He comes in to finish the game. He should be fine. But a brutal fumble cost the Jets a chance at 3, if not 7 points. They were driving. It was a first down run by Breece, and it just got punched out at the last second as he was going down. ESPN Analytics gave the Jets a 25.6% chance to win, but it didn't feel like it was 25% chance, to be honest. And of course, ensuing possession, Dallas goes 90 yards for the second time in this game. 2 90-yard drives in the first half by Dallas, and a demoralizing touchdown makes it 17-3. And that really felt like the game was over. 9% chance, 8.9% according to analytics at that point at 17-3. The Jets have their own 3-and-out right before the half, and Dallas immediately turns it into another touchdown in 2 plays. Javonte Williams runs for a 66-yard run all the way down to inside the 2-yard line, breaking a few tackles at the first and second level of this Jets defense. And he gets caught at the 2-yard line. They score the next play on a wide-ass open tight end play to Jake Ferguson, his second of the game. And then you really knew it was over. 4% chance to win. Uncompetitive in the first half. Just abysmal performance all around. Individually, when it comes to the players, Fields, I thought he held on to the ball far too long in this game. I was not a fan of all the long developing routes. I understand you have to have more guys in to protect, so that gives you less options in the passing concept, but it felt like they were just teeing off from 10-3 on Justin Fields. They were sending twists and stunts, and sometimes they were getting home with 4, but every time they blitzed, it felt like they were getting pressure on Justin Fields. So he was holding on to the ball far too long, but the offensive line struggled mightily today. 5 total sacks, 14 quarterback hits on Fields. He even injured his ankle on one of the hits inside the pocket that ended up being roughing the passer, but he was just getting teed off on, and really no like chemistry there between the offensive line and quarterback. Sometimes it was his fault, sometimes it was the O-line's fault, and they just kind of went back and forth all day, and it resulted in Fields having less than 100 yards passing by halftime. He ends with over 280 yards, most of that in garbage time. And The running game did okay. Breece Hall had a ton of explosive runs, especially on first down, a lot of really good drive starting runs. But then every time they looked back to pass, it was just bad. Offensive line and quarterback really slowed them down in this game. And obviously, you can't run the ball when you're down 10-3, 17-3. You have to be able to throw. They obviously picked it up late in the end of the game. They scored 2 garbage time touchdowns, maybe even 3. I know they had a field goal and 2 garbage time touchdowns at the end of this game. So it again, the final score is indicative of a competitive game, 37-22, but it was anything but competitive for the beginning half of this game, when that's what matters most. It doesn't matter what you do when you're down 30-6. It matters what you do when it's 0-0 and 3-3 in this game. So the big 2 turning points were punting on the 43, which led to an immediate touchdown drive by the Cowboys, and then the Breece fumble, obviously, is the gut punch that becomes the fatal blow for this team. Defensively, there was a 3rd and 1 that I thought the scheme was right, and they got home on an inside run blitz. They ran it up the middle, and Tyler Barron, Braden McGregor, Jay Tufele all missed the tackle. And Javonte Williams was able to get that extra 1.5 yards after contact to convert a first down. And then it immediately turned into that tight end screen to make it 17-0 or even 10-0. But again, a turning point. You can't get off the field on 3rd and short, and you have 3 backup level players missing tackles. So those are the 2 turning points. Defensively, 0 sacks on Dak Prescott. They have 1 in the box score as a sack, but it was a slide that Dak Prescott basically got 0 yards out of. And instead of taking a hit, he slid, and it counts as a sack because he was tagged 0 yards at the line of scrimmage. So it's not a sack. And they only had 3 quarterback hits on Dak Prescott the entire game. If you want a microcosm of the entire Jets defense, just look at the deep play action shot to George Pickens against Sauce Gardner. Dak has an eternity to throw. George Pickens has more hand fighting than Garrett Wilson did in last Monday's game against the Dolphins. There's no PI called either way, and he scores on Sauce Gardner, who doesn't turn his head around once again. So the defense had 13 missed tackles in the first half. I'm not even going to look at the final total tally of missed tackles because I'm sure it was close to 20 again. So just inexcusable numbers by this defense. Penalties wise, they had 10 penalties for 61 yards. Dallas actually ended with more penalties and more penalty yardage, but it doesn't matter because you were also -1 in the turnover battle after the Breece fumble, because once again, the Jets cannot force a turnover, cannot force a sack. So you're really handcuffing your entire team when your defense is not able to make those crucial plays. 3rd and 4th down conversion rate, they went 7 of 16 on 3rd down and 1 of 3 on 4th down. They did convert 2 2-point conversions, but that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Where do we go from here? It's unfortunate, but there's so many more questions about this team than answers when we're supposed to be in a discovery year and trying to evaluate all the parts and see what we have for the future. And it feels like everybody takes turns with some god-awful mistake, and it really makes it so much harder to find these answers about this team. Do we have a good head coach? Nobody knows, but a lot of people don't think so. Do we have a good offensive coordinator? At times, I feel like we do. The opening script was decent, and he tried some new things. And then in garbage time, he allows Fields to just go back and be almost surgical with it. So you got to find a blend of those two. So I would say maybe we have a good OC, but I can't argue if somebody says we don't. Do we have a good DC? I would tell you no. And a lot of people will also tell you no. So we have a good special teams coordinator. Maybe. We have yet to see it. And it felt like today, Avery Williams, even though he was, touted for his speed, it felt like he was running so tentatively every time he touched the ball on kick return. It was like, hey, I understand 2 guys have been cut before me. All I have to do is just get to the 22 to 25 yard line and go down on first contact and not fumble the ball, and I should be fine. And it looked like he was, playing scared, because at that point, what else do you have going on in your head when you know you're the 3rd kick returner of this team and the other 2 have been cut for mistakes they made? So all in all, if anybody wants to say one part of this team specifically is bad, I don't have the, confidence or evidence to argue with you. And that's the unfortunate part about being 0-5 is the blame gets passed around to every single part of it. I think from Woody on down to, the equipment staff, every single person is to blame for this 0-5 start by the Jets. It's unacceptable, excuse me. And now you go over to London next week, and God bless any Jets fan that is going to London and using their hard-earned money to travel halfway across the country to go watch this team play a far superior Broncos team that's not even playing up to their potential, in my opinion. I think they still leave plays out there on the field. And I believe as of the time of this recording, they're still beating the Philadelphia Eagles or have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. So not looking good for the Jets. Not really many positives to take away from this game. I'll go back and do the rewatch and try to come away with my evaluations of what I thought. I thought they did some things differently on defense. Not that it really mattered. I saw some dime packages out there with Malachi Moore and Isaiah Oliver, but when they're getting cooked on third down man crossers, like it's unacceptable. It's inexcusable. Something's got to change. This team needs to make some wholesale changes before it gets before it's over. And right now the season pretty much looks over. You can't really evaluate anything at this point. You can't really tell if you even have a quarterback for the future. There's times, again, where Fields looks like he can be the guy, but then there's times where he looks drastically bad. So the Jets got to figure out a way to put together a full team effort in one of these games to show us something more like that Pittsburgh game that feels like it was 2.5 years ago at this point, the way the season's going. So 0-5, New York Jets heading to London to face the Broncos. Let me know your comments in the comments below. I'll be trying to engage and interact with all you guys. I understand we have a lot of frustrations right now. I'm totally with you. So I will do my best to answer all the questions that you guys have and all the concerns that you guys will surely have from this one. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 2,000 subs. I certainly appreciate it. This team does not deserve our support, but I certainly appreciate your support, and I will continue to tell you that and make the necessary changes to make this channel more enjoyable as the football games become less enjoyable. So with that, I want to say a big thank you to all you guys. A1 since day one members, I certainly appreciate you guys. And if you want to join at the $4.99 monthly tier, you will get some exclusive videos, some college quarterback breakdowns that I did a few months ago, some offensive film breakdowns when this team puts out something good to put out, and also my play charting and other data resources like personnel usages and weekly rankings for offense and defense. That's all included at the $4.99 tier. So if you become a member and you don't have the link already, just ask me and I will send you the link. But until next time, I'm Dylan Terman. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and keep our head up, Jets fans. Something's got to give.